We have some more updates to give to the residents. So I will tell you the flow of the program so that you can be informed before. We'll start with FAMC, TDC, Working Committee, Bharat Niwas team, last Saya, and then we'll be having Secretary Ma'am addressing the community. Since we have a shortage of time, after each presentation, we can take only 3 questions and mic. Rest will have papers, you can write, we'll be responding accordingly. So the time will be very sharp, so request the presenters also to maintain the time that has already been informed. And let us call upon members of FAMC, Margarita, to come forward and start the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. The Secretary, Madam, asked today to present what is the status of the consolidation of the accounts for Auroville Foundation in the financial year 24 and 25. This is what we are going to explore, what is the today and what will be for Monday onwards. The achieve we had to realize all of us. Next. Next. I would like to introduce today or meet the Controller and Auditor General of India, commonly known as the CAG or the CAG auditors. They are the supreme audit institution of India. The accounts of Auroville Foundation are audited by the Controller and Auditor General, the CAG of India. They come to Auroville every year. Next. What CAG has been complained to Auroville Foundation, to FNC, to BCC in the past years? They say after many years of asking for it, the complete records of all the units' transactions are not being provided to them. The second is there is one significant delay in completing the financials and providing to them. This is not this year, last year, or previous 2 years, or previous 3 years. We're talking about decades. Number 3, even as of date, the last 10 years data for all the units is not centralized. Data has not been shared by many units accountants. This has happened to me with the GST case in Cathedral Light Trust. Since 2017, there are no records. The inter-unit reconciliations are not done in the absence of appropriate accounting. When I refer to this, is the one PAN number with 37 trusts, who we do between us inter and intra transactions with over 48 GST numbers. I remind everyone that in July 2017, we had 128 GST numbers. The target is to have one PAN number, one GST number. This is what the government is asking us, one PAN number, one GST number, and we finish the inter and intra transactions between us. The details of the fixed assets, the centralized registers are not maintained. Zero, nothing. Difficulty and delays in providing underlying books of the accounts and the documents for the CAG's reviews. Next. The CAG communicates that the accounts in Auroville Foundation should be fully in digital form and in one real-time basis. That means no more Excel sheets, no more tally backups, no more Word documents or anything. We are in real time, means 24/7. Second, in order to comply with the CAG instructions, Auroville Foundation, with the approval of the government of India, has implemented the SOHO. It's one tool, ERP, for all the 740 units of Auroville Foundation. How I know these 740 units exist? You can see here in the stream up, the Soho tool is telling me today, 3 o'clock, the amount of organizations have been registered under Soho, 740. The CAG has also communicated that the physical verification of the inventories and assets should be carried out by each unit and certified by the auditors. This is going on in the 37 trusts. The inter and intra transactions, unit adjustments identified under various heads of the account has to be reconciled and adjusted. We received one letter from the CAG auditor saying the last date for submission of consolidated annual accounts for Auroville Foundation as per Ministry of Education and CAG is the 30th of April 2025. Next week. Next. Then, what are the immediate actions for Auroville Foundation consolidation in the annual accounts, the financial year 24-25? Despite of the several reminders, 716 units have not submitted the accounts for the period from December 24 to March 25. The deadline for submission of tally data, that is the last tally data in our life, was on the 23rd of April 2025. The auditors listed there, MCR, or well known as Madame Matangi, she's the lead. At the moment, 400 units under NCR has not complied. PKF auditors, that also were known as TV Balasubramanian, 235 units has not complied. PricePath auditors, that is Mr. Balasubramanian, 81 units has not complied. Next. Then what we have internally in Foundation and FNC is called the traffic light assessments. In that we know by the green lights, yellow lights, and the red lights the status of what is happening to us. This is one snapshot of the traffic light assessment until today, 12 o'clock, for this financial year 24-25. As you see, I take my trust, Cathedral Light Trust, as example, but I had the 740 units in traffic light. You can see the trust name, the unit name, if they had submitted the tally backups, if the status of the unit is open or closed. Green light was until November. Everybody submit. But from December to March is the red color. Then we call the red, who is in red, who is in yellow, who is in green. The audit has completed, the botanical services in progress from down below has been completed. When the auditors complete, they send the queries, they share the queries with us, with the trust and with the unit executives, and we had to reply about the audit paras. It's called the audit paras. So others are going to receive the audits, but this is only until November. My 2 units has already finished the both, not only the inventory audit, but also the assets audit, physically, counting 1, 2, 3, 4. Then this is one snap. It's called a snapshot of the traffic light assessments. Next. Then it's requested to all the units, executives, all Aurovillians who are engaged in the consolidation of the accounts for financial years 24-25, submit the accounts from December to March by the 30th of April 2025. Thank you. There is any question?
Good evening, Margarita. This is Kalia here.
I cannot see you, Kalia.
You can't. I'm very dark here. Sure.
No, because the dark, because I had the light in my eyes.
Dark, it's okay. I just have a small suggestion to the Aurovillians sitting here. Last 50, 40 years I've been seeing, like, whenever there's a situation like this, we always first complain and then give our suggestions. I would like to say if we all can start with something that we like about the presentation and then give our suggestions. I think that will change a little bit of the momentum hereafter. And what I like today is Margarita's voice was so nice. She's not like before. I think I really appreciate that. And hello, sir. OSD, sir. Nice to see you after a long time. What is my suggestion to FAMC is that recently we had the accountants coming to our units. They asked us to submit everyday accounts to the foundation office. Imagine 740 units coming there, running every day, submitting their bills. It's not going to be practical. I think you have to come up with some other idea. Thank you. That's the only thing.
Point taken, but we are doing well. We are expanding the FNC area for the daily receipt of the documents. Next question.
Hi, thanks for the presentation. I have a question. I'm not sure, my previous accountants, I think, should be submitting this data, and I'm not sure what I can do to help make that happen because I don't have any of the tally data. It's not with me. So yeah, do you have any advice on that?
Yeah, sure. We are all in the same ship. Actually, it's the last ship in that circumstance. I know that your account has been slowly submitted. We are all pushing or pulling. I don't know in which direction to say the pushing or pulling. But yes, the previous accountant has now the responsibility to close down the financial year 24-25. Everybody knows the new CA firms, that is Prasanna Kumar and Co. All know very well Prasanna, Soumya, Sindhuja. They are extremely friendly and knowledgeable, and they like to teach. We have one second CM firm that also I adore, that is called the GKH, that is Madam Jaja Kartika. She's very active. She's also moving, but we are moving is in the 25, 26 under Soho. The third one is Natesa with Mr. Ganesh that also are trying to do the good job. We are very close. We are very close, just December to March, but we are absolutely out of time by CAG. But we are pushing, and I know you are doing the good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last and third question.
What are the consequences if we don't submit as per what CAG has asked of us?
The consequences are not only the same, but the worse as the previous 10 years consequence, the not submitting the accounts to the CAG at time. When the CAG auditors come here, personally, we have very, very hard times. Last time was really tough, almost physically heart attacks and everything, because they are extremely tight. Is the government asking? We are under Ministry of Education. The purpose of Auroville under Ministry of Education is to be one higher education center. Then under that, I am finishing. Under
Margarita madam, I will answer this question. Sitaram.
Thank you, Rosie.
Actually, if you are not submitting means we are under the control of CAG, okay, so Ministry of Education. So then that audit will be delayed, and moreover we have to submit the annual reports and annual accounts to the Parliament House, both the Parliament House. If it is delayed, then we won't get every year budget, because foundation is getting budget from different heads, okay, 31, 35, 36. And we are giving to, every year we are sanctioning to SIRE, FAMC, Working Committee and ATDC. So this is very difficult.
Okay, if you have more questions, papers are available, you can write in there. So we can move ahead with the next presentation. We call upon Sindhuja from ATDC.
Hello everyone, we meet again. We had our last presentation 2 weeks ago. So from the ATDC side, we don't have much to add in terms of updates because the end of the financial year doesn't affect us as much as the FAMC. But since we are here today, I thought we could give you a concise presentation on where we are at and what has been going on, especially in the light of the recent judgments from the Honorable Supreme Court. And we will take the 3 questions and then see if there is more. You can write it down on the paper. So please go to the next slide. So a couple of weeks ago, we presented in detail the legal status of all the Auroville's court cases. The link to this video recording will be available in this YouTube link, which is generated now. Please watch it if you haven't seen it already. It's detailed and informative. I won't be touching on those cases now. I will only touch upon the fact that the Supreme Court has, in fact, given the master plan its backing, the backing that it needed, because we were challenged to develop Auroville at the NGT, and the Supreme Court's verdicts, the recent verdicts, has in fact stated that the Auroville master plan is final and has statutory force. So now I take the opportunity once again to express ATDC's wish, intention and pleasure to implement the Auroville city as planned and as detailed also beyond the master plan. The master plan is giving some details, but it's detailed way beyond the master plan by Roger, and we have formalized that into zonal development plans. We are continuing to formalize it into sector plans and layout plans, which are further detailed plans, and Auroville will be developed based on these plans. And at the same time, you can go to the next slide. This is a bit of an overview of what the zonal plans look like. It looks more than this, of course. This is just a map. All the 4 zones are detailed. The 4 zonal plans contain the public facilities that they will contain, where they will go, mobility, intra-sector, and in the radials and the crown and the outer ring road, and also the FARs of each development pocket, from the low-rise, low-urban settlement, low-density urban settlement in Sector 1 all the way to Sector 5, which will be a high-density, very urban, very dense collective settlement. Excuse me. Sector 5 is all the way to the west of the map there, and Sector 1 all the way to the east. We are looking at the residential zone. So similarly, in each zone, we have gone into quite some detail as to where the service nodes will be located, where people will be brought to with fossil fuel vehicles, and where the switchover of transport will happen. Next. And this is a very big emphasis already in the zonal development plan as to which radials will be, once the radials and the outer ring road is completed, which is underway right now. The crown is almost complete and the radials are only pending completion. It's already with the CPWD, and as soon as the lands are acquired, there's about 40 acres left in the city area, the radials can be completed. And this mobility, what we have chalked out here, which radials will be motorized, which radials will be straight away pedestrian only from the get-go, how the crown will be accessed, and all of this, this will be one of the most predominant things that will be put into effect as soon as we can. Apart from this, of course, there are developments which we will just show you some samples of. Please go to the next slide. One of the service nodes which we are developing first is the southern service node, because it's already the most developed and defined service node next to the gas service, around the gas service. It will be developed as a campus with roads. It will be a place where Aurovillians can come, park their fossil fuel vehicles and switch transport modes and go into Auroville with only e-vehicles, cycles, or as pedestrians, or with collective transport when that is ready. And the first building that will be built with GOI grants will be a food court cum boutique, which will boost the economy of Auroville. We are currently preparing the tender documents for this building to come up, and we have contacted some eateries and units and boutiques of Auroville who will participate into this project and make it come alive. Next. Housing projects, New Birth, Habitat near Citadine. New Birth will be in Sector 1 in the lowest dense sector, behind Arati next to Surrender. It will be at the heart of Sector 1. Each project has its own aim. The aim of New Birth is so that it penetrates the mentality in the sectors 1 and 2 today, which makes it a very gated community-like feel. We would like to break that, and we would like to go from that into neighborhood experience and the urban experience that the Galaxy plan calls for. So there will be interconnected and shaded walkways which go through these buildings, and it would connect New Birth housing, which goes from near Surrender all the way up to Maduka. It's a very long development project with a lot of varying densities and building heights. Next. And line of progress is one of the first lines of force that will be built, also predominantly housing, but also a lot of mixed use because it's cluster housing. And vertical cluster collective housing always has social infrastructure infused into it, which will serve also the non-dense areas of the same sector. And this project also aims to densify sector 2 of Auroville, which is already fairly dense. So the first sectors which will be completed is sector 1 and sector 2, because we have all the infrastructure also readily available to plug into or to be enhanced. And what we are not presenting today visually, but also is ready on paper, at least conceptually, schematically, is a habitat project near Citadine Sunship area. The aim of that, the aim to densify that area is so that the city center comes alive. We are already working on the peace area since many, many years now. The admin zone, the town hall building is coming up. So this habitat housing project will serve to house those people who are working also in the city center. Therefore, it will curtail the movement required from one end of Auroville to the other. So 3 different projects, 3 different areas of Auroville, all requiring to be funded, and we are working on different schemes to fund these projects and maybe start them at the same time, hopefully. Next. Siru has been also an ongoing project since a very long time, and now architecturally it has almost come to a point of detailed project report. Pino is leading the team of design, and the DPR is being prepared. There's a small team of people working on it who are under ATDC. And the thing that we will have to study further and present to the governing board is what will animate Siru. What are the activities? What is the structure of Siru, which is the soft structure, not the hard structure. So we are working parallelly on that as well. But it's on the lakefront, so it's a project that will need to be figured out in some detail along with the building of the lake, because some of the lake also spills onto the front portion of Siru. Next. Morningstar, we are putting only sample projects. These are not the only projects we are working on, but for paucity of time, this project is put here today. It's designed by Mona to show you that there are projects which are ready to start, which are ready to take off on the ground. I believe the tender has been called for this project, so the construction should begin any moment. It's being built with donations and held by the Morningstar team who have been working on it since years. Next. And this is an image which I presented also last time to show how the city is emerging. I think in 3 months, if we take another Google Earth image, we will see the radials also. So it's a very compelling, a very satisfying image for us to look at. When we see the radials, the crown and the outer ring road are actually emerging. They are a reality, and they are not just something on paper, on a map anymore. So similarly, all these projects, when they take off, the Galaxy slowly will start landing. So this is the end goal. This is the vision, the end goal for all of us being to honor the mother's vision, to build the Galaxy plan with as little distortion as possible, and with as much respect to the environment, to the master plan, to the Galaxy and its details as possible. And thanks to the recent court verdicts, not only in the Supreme Court, also at the Madras High Court, there have been some very landmark judgments which have set right our path, set clear our path so that we can go forward without any impediments. Thank you. We are ready to take questions.
Thank you for your presentation. It's quite enlightening. But as a person that has been working many, many years in the housing, for me, the mystery is how we're going to finance this all. I hear this for certain projects, there are government grants, but how are we going to finance the housing for the 50,000 people that are going to come? So far, knowing for many years, we had a lot of problems with that. Do you have an action plan? I heard you are going to apply in different institutions, but I would like to know more, because the fact that it is not already there, the galaxy, is mainly because we didn't have the money to manifest it. If you have an answer or any indication, I would love to hear that.
Thank you, Sonia. We touched on this quite in some detail in the last meeting, I believe. I can briefly touch on that. We've been exploring loans, large-scale loans, small-scale loans, and that can be paid back by a different look at the Auroville economy, at the way we are dealing with our units, not as private businesses, but as furtherance activities existing solely for the purpose of development and furtherance of Auroville. If we change the model in which our economy is functioning, then we can look at repaying something that we borrow from the outside without taxing individuals who are perhaps coming in without any money. Some may be able to donate, some may not be able to donate. And we are not looking at only having an influx of people with money to come into Auroville. We want young people with or without money to come into Auroville, but who are committed to the ideals of Auroville. So we are working on that as well. And last time I explained, there are some schemes in which we are trying to get ourselves included, which I will not go into more detail right now because we are still at the baby stages of those approvals and applications. But we hope to update you in the next meeting whether we can avail those schemes or not, because you mentioned GOI grants. As far as I know, GOI grants we cannot avail for housing projects. If we have done so in the past, we should not have done. We have done though. So going forward, we will not do GOI grants, no. But there are some schemes we are working on getting ourselves included, which will actually help us to subsidize some amounts which we borrow from, banks. And apart from that, of course, we always have our model of building with donations, building with the goodwill of donors who want to use the assets and who don't want to use the asset. Both donors are there. Sonship exists as a living model for us. How a housing project could be, kind of funded, funded through the goodwill of donors across the world who want this project, who want the galaxy to descend and manifest. Because if the galaxy has to descend and manifest, we need housing, we need people here to come and work. So we are well aware of that, and thank you for bringing it up. This is where we are at. Second question, please.
Thank you. Can I see the first slide of your presentation? Amazing buildings, by the way. I like the aesthetics. The first one? Yeah. So this is also the picture I like most, because there is a lot of green. And so you mentioned Mother's vision of the galaxy, which will be in the center. No? We have the crown road, or the crown, and inside the crown the galaxy, and then the outer ring, and between the crown and the outer ring the green belt, or a green belt. Can be forest, can be farms, it should be green. And I might be wrong, that's why I want to ask you, there are many pieces here which either don't belong to Auroville, actually probably the vast majority of the area, of this green area, or are cities, towns, villages, or are panchayats. So I'm wondering if you envisage to build the full galaxy without having the green buffet around, or you go in proportion, just to respect Mother's vision too. So okay, if you don't have all this green, which she wanted us to enjoy, and maybe, I'm sure there is also a spiritual reason. Nature and green is there to heal us, to nurture us, much more than the cement, I think. The cement maybe is to live. And so if you want to plan the city in proportion to the green that you will want to have as well around the city. So if you plan to build slowly, waiting for the green to come.
Is there a question, Giovanni?
Yes, if you plan to wait to have all the green to build the galaxy.
The question is if I'm planning to wait to have all the green to build the galaxy. So that answer is no, we won't wait. We are going ahead with the building of the city, but it's not one or the other, it's both. So the work on the land consolidation is a work in itself, and I think tremendous work has been done in just the last 3 years on consolidating the lands with a primary focus on the city lands, because we want to develop Auroville for the sustenance of its participants, present and future. So that's step 1. And then step 2 will be some consolidation of lands in the greenbelt and some regulation of activities in the greenbelt. Even if you're a private landowner, your activities will have to conform to the Auroville master plan, which has statutory force. So the one correction I wanted to make, Giovanni, is that the crown is not the defining road of the city. The crown is the defining road of the city center, and the outer ring road, and between the crown and the outer ring road is the city area, and inside of the crown is the central the melting pot, if you will, of the 4 zones, and the industrial zone, residential zone, cultural zone and international zone kind of coming together in a melting pot. So the outer ring road will define the periphery of the city, which we are also building now near the gas service. If you've seen it, near Courage, there's a big road now. The green belt absolutely is an integral and big part of Auroville's development. It will sustain Auroville's participants by food production and other activities. The master plan speaks extensively about it, and as much focus will be given for the development and sustenance of the green belt as will be for the city. Third question?
Asking as Auroville should have a kind of protection, and then he conceived the green belt as a buffer zone. The mother was immediately delighted. So the green belt was meant to have farms, parks, gardens, nice greenery for strolling for the people who were working full day. So how you reconcile the true inspiration of the green belt with what has been done? Nobody should have been settling in the green belt.
Nobody should have been? Could you please repeat?
No one should have settled in the green belt. They were only temporary dwellings.
Settled in the green belt, yes.
Yes. While we see that we have houses, villas, so how is possible to go back to the ideal?
So I'm not sure it will be ever possible to fully go back. There will be possibility to regulate to some extent. There will be possibility to go back to some extent. Some of the settlements in the Greenbelt are embedded in the Auroville master plan also. So we have recognized that they exist, and we have given them legitimacy by its existence in the master plan. We have said these village settlements will be there. Now their boundaries have not been defined, so they have been growing. And there are also private land development in the Greenbelt which have been unregulated, because we are still working on how to regulate those developments. We are still working on it. But it will have to be a hybrid where there is a kind of inner green belt which will form this buffer zone, and an outer green belt within the same green belt area where it is a bit more regulated, but not there are certain things that we can't take back which have happened in the last decade. So we will have to integrate them and come up with a revised green belt, integrated green belt plan. It's also in the pipeline. Thank you. That's for the ATDC presentation. Joseba.
If there's more question, you can take the paper. So now we call upon Joseba from Working Committee.
Well, I have very little time and many points to cover, so I will do a selection of the most important topics that we are dealing. The first one is the visa. In the visa area have been made a big change. A new group has come that is very important, is the admission and termination. This group is the group that now is going to deal with most of the work of the visa. Until now was the working committee, but now the responsibility has been shifted to them. And then many of the questions that still you have, you should relate to this group and not to the working committee. The working committee will continue receiving all the visas at the end of the process, and we will do our own comments, but most of the practical work have been transferred already, and we have a very good communication between the new group and the working committee. We continue with all the activities of the working committee. The most important perhaps is the VIPs visits. In the last time we are receiving more visits than ever perhaps from the VIPs. 2 weeks ago we received the consul of the Australian delegation, and we have a very interesting interaction with them, and we are receiving more and more groups at this level. Can you pass? The next point that I think we need to comment is the first point, policy to the link contributions from visas and regulate waivers. So here have been made a big change. The policy that we have until now have been finished. We are not going to continue with this policy, and there is a new policy that will come to substitute this. This has been regulated by the governing board, and we don't know in detail how will be this, because we have not received still the notes of the meeting. But the important, because was a number of problems created with this, postponements in the time with the visas. Well, there were a number of problems that we were not very happy with this policy, frankly, the working committee, and has been finished. It's not going to continue. So at this level, everybody can be sure that this policy is going to be no longer in our way of acting. We have been also, under the request of the foundation, preparing some policies regarding houses, the use of the houses, and the use for the deceased people, because there were not enough clarity. We have done our work, have been presented to the foundations, and we are expecting now that they will be approved. Business visa is another important topic. Business visa, the question is that now the Indian government is reviewing all these visas in all India, and in one way perhaps can affect the visas in Auroville also. So we are waiting that they finish with this, and then we will analyze what kind of repercussion have in Auroville, and we will expose what is our concerns with the business visa, because we consider that it's incompatible, we can tell you this from now, it's incompatible to have the two visas at the same time. People have to choose, or they choose to live in Auroville with all the regulations that we have in our way of life, or you have to choose to live outside of Auroville and to have a business visa to regulate your activities. But if you are in Auroville, your professional activities have to be centered in Auroville and benefit Auroville. That is an important question. The next. The area of the newcomers and volunteers needs more attention. We have been involved, the working committee, in the transition, because was a little abandoned the situation, frankly, of the newcomers and volunteers. So we realized a number of meetings, we prepared a number of meetings with, that were very well attended, by the way, with the newcomers, and preparing the new group that was going to come, all the questions that they have, all the problems that they have until now, and to pass all these problems to the new group. So this was a successful experiment that we did. We did around 3 months, and have been regulated a little better. The people have been attended at many levels, and clarity has been exposed, because there were situations that there were not much clarity regulating this, thanks to the court cases that have been impending the work at many levels in Auroville for all these months, and this was one. So we have done something that is intermediary. Still, we are waiting for the final resolution of the court regarding the newcomers. But that is not an obstacle to continue with the work of the newcomers, preparing them to become Aurovillians, to give all kind of information, to develop. We have to develop more the informative aspects. This year that the newcomers have should be an important point to be prepared and to understand, because we believe there is much misunderstanding about the ideals of Auroville, the reasons for the project of Auroville, and all this needs to be explained deeper and much better than until now. So this is something that we will do in the future, and is one of the responsibilities also of the new group probably. We will have to clarify this. And then there is a problem, big problem, with the available houses for the newcomers and volunteers. So we have had some meetings with the housing service, and we try to regulate the best possible whatever is in existence now with the possibilities that we have and the increasing demand of housing that we are facing, and that we are not able at all to satisfy this, but whatever is possible we have been doing until now. We are coordinating better with Ravi, and we are attending also some difficulties that always there are in the life of Auroville, complaints, grievances, and other kind of things. Normally they come to the working committee. So that's all. And if you have any question, I will try to respond.
I think majority of the community is inquiring and concerned about visa for Frederick, one of the first Aurovillians accepted by the mother. His first recommendation letter for visa was signed by the mother herself. He has spent all his life here, and we hear that now there is no visa because there is no proper visa recommendation letter from the Auroville Foundation or from the secretary. Can you explain what is happening and what is being done about it?
Well, first, the working committee is not related to this case. It's a very special case. Directly, this is coming, as far as we know, is coming from the Home Ministry and the ROR and all these intermediary bodies. But we can say from the working committee clearly to try to understand the situation and resolve of Frederick without trying to understand the 3 years of opposition and sabotage to the decisions of the governing board by a number of Aurovillians. I think that this is not possible. Both topics will have to be resolved at the same time. There is a liaison between the two, and to try to understand one separated completely to the other, I think this is not possible. We have had 3 years of boycott at many levels in the present organization, and this should be also a topic of reflection and not only what is happening with Frederick. Okay, because one belongs to the other, is connected with the other, and without solving one, I don't think that it will be possible to resolve the second.
If I may say so, about resolving, there have been attempts from the Resident Assembly many times to have a dialogue. It has not been accepted. And secondly, when you pronounce that you are building Mother City and all your objectives are to manifest and build the Mother City, then one starts wondering, how come Mother's own instructions about some residents, about some places, are so blatantly ignored?
Okay, what I can respond to this is, look, when I came as newcomer to Auroville 30 years ago, I started to work in the office of Roger, Auroville Future, at that time, because I realized that many people were not in accordance with the dream of the city and the very clear proposals of the mother for the city. The discussions have followed for 30 years. I am more than tired of discussing about the galaxy and all these things. And finally, what we received some time ago, 3 years ago, was to put in question the master plan. That is the only document approved by everyone, even in the Residents' Assembly, by 90-something% of the people of Auroville was approved. And then it was put in question, and then in a very nasty way, I cannot find better words, the master plan was sabotaged, and the work with violence was stop it. And these kind of things, I think that those that are reflecting about the present situation of Auroville, this is something that you should reflect quite a lot. Because this is unprecedented in Auroville for many years. And this situation, don't speak of proposals made to dialogue, because I have not seen, I saw only one, and was a failure immediately. So I think that it is necessary that this sector that is still fighting, and then you do the fight a big virtue, you should reconsider also this, for how long are we going to continue in this situation, because it's not going to be good for Auroville at any level, for you or for us, and especially for Auroville. It's a disaster. And this we knew from the beginning that was going to be a big disaster with many consequences, and now we are suffering this.
Thank you for being so honest about it.
Yeah.
And what I would like to say that last 2 days, about 30 Aurovillians have been meeting all day, and many from both different sides, trying to find a way together to move forward. So look forward for good news also from Aurovillians.
Okay.
All the good news will not come only from close quarters from the foundation office.
Okay, thank you very much. There is any other question? Finish? No, one more.
Thank you. I'm Lakshay. I'm going to add a word of support to Aravinda. I think it's very important, given that so many residents are professionally involved in politicking in Auroville, we need to have a special status called politic visa or something like that, beyond X visa. Madam is here, perhaps ma'am, if you can little bit facilitate. There are at least 200 Aurovillians who are full-time professionally engaged in duplicating working groups just to oppose work. And not only that, they go to media and propagate all sorts of possible, accentuating the differences at the national and the local stage, fighting, creating fights between BJP and DMK and so on and so forth. It is really ugly, but we should kind of honor them with a special visa so that they can at least legitimize their useless work. Thank you.
You have any question, Lakshay? No. Okay. So, I think the three topics. One more?
Last.
My question is concerning the visa. It actually, this visa matter, it caused much distress in the Aurovillian. You go to all the process, you meet all the people, you meet the admission and registry, admission and termination registry, you meet Koshi, etc., etc., and you said that your demand is accepted. Okay, it's recommended. The file is on the desk of Madame Secretary. So. And you wait 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and still there's no progress. You go to the foundation office and they answer you that Madame Secretary, she came last week, she's been here 2 days, but she had a lot of meetings and she was not able to sign nothing. You come back the week after, it's the same answer, the same answer. So, I mean, can we find a way that when you go to the process of visa, you have a more efficient way of finishing the business, That's my question.
Okay, I will respond perhaps partially, I don't know. What I know is that 98% of all the visas has been approved. This I know. 98%. There are some cases of some individuals that for many reasons, especially the reasons that we know, have been postponed, have not been approved, have been all kinds of obstacles. trying to touch this without touching the other, I think this is not going to work. So we need to improve the system, yes. One obstacle, in my opinion, that was this VC's intervention in keeping the visas at many levels have been eliminated. In the future is not going to exist. It will be more clarity, and the new group will deal with this in a more efficient way. Madam Secretary has had their own problems to attend, is coming all the times that she can. I know very well that she's doing a big effort. And sometimes will be some postponements of time, but I don't think that if you withdraw the big problem that we are facing, the visa as such is a big problem. I don't think so. Finish.
Next we call upon Mr.
more
Janmajay
questions.
from... No, finish.
Yeah, namaste all of you. I mean, the bigger challenge of taking the assignment of Bharat Nivas by the suggestion and advice from foundation was to make Bharat Nivas sustainable. And I will just elaborate because I have only 5 to 6 minutes to present how we achieve this goal.
One second, there's some issues.
So basically, the challenge was to self-sustainable. I mean, the thought came, the whole idea, because we came to know that each of our Aurovillian units is struggling for office space. That is one. Also, many Auroville commercial units also struggling to have their proper presentation, to have their conscious business. So then we thought for first to provide the space to each Auroville units to come up with the idea and start something new. And also we have started working on the space which not utilized, unutilized space. So we start from LOE building. I think each of us, we must aware about LOE building. Previously it was post office. So that building was, since long time, it was unutilized. Then we have converted to wildlife art gallery. And I mean, that is now Auroville kids, schools across Bioregion, and students across India, across globe, they're coming and having the idea and educating about wildlife. That is one. Then we have started renting the unutilized space to Auroville units such as office, venue, science, MOU for different units, and we created also QR payment for the each activities, and also we started minimum contribution to visitors to Kala Kendra, giving a experience about dawn of Auroville, photo exhibition, complete knowledge of Auroville inauguration, including 3 various exhibition in Kala Kendra. Pathway managed by Bharat Nivas Trust, pathway stalls and from Auroville units. I think now almost 9 to 10 units has their own kiosks, including La Boutique and Balu, Auroville Explore. There also a unit. Then Bharat Nivas has own souvenir shop. In that particular souvenir shop is run by Bharat Nivas Trust, and the whole idea is to showcase the product of each units, as well as we are encouraging the Bioregion artisan to bring their conscious product and display in our souvenir shop. And also activities wise, we are having daily Shwaram sound healing in Kala Kendra, 2:30 to 3:30. And Kalari Gram also, recently we have started Bharat Kalari, which will be going to be daily activities. So almost 9 units has been completely they're doing their activities in Bharat Nibas, and in this area we are able to sustain, and also renting all the office space. And also we have started Book My Show for the visitors, and that also somehow working to generate some revenue. These are the office space which we have rented. So these are the space, Bharat Nivas own cafeteria we have started for the visitors, and La Boutique, Explore, Auroville Tours, Taste of Nature stall, I Connect, then medicinal herbal nursery counter, Kala Kendra regular activities, display of artworks, Shwaram sound healing, Igai stall, Bharat Kalari. Unutilized space of Kala Kendra art, these are the utilized space. I mean, Deepam Candle has their stall. These are 3 units they are operating in Silpa Kendra. So this is also previously it was unutilized. Now this space is totally transformed like this. So total programs in Aurobindo Auditorium, 124 programs, 23 to 25, Kala Kendra 21 exhibition, Sauchu 90 events, Bhumika Hall 102 programs, Harmony Hall 92 programs. Major programs. These are the major programs, and I'm really thankful to Aurovan and whole Tango team. They have really done well. And also we have Michael Jackson dance program, music concert by O.S. Arun, and these are the major Auroville Festival, Margari Festival. I'll congratulate Lakshay to really the collaboration with Bharat Nivas. We did 2 times Auroville Festival, also Margari Festival. These are the activities, and these are the MOU has been signed for exchange program with ICCL, Government of India, and also with MOU with Pondicherry government. This is now the LOI building transformed to this situation. Students across India, they're visiting to the wildlife gallery in this manner. And this is Auro Perfect Vision, and it is related to health. This is also started in unutilized space in Aurobindo Auditorium. This is Bharat Nivas Souvenir, La Boutique, Explore Auroville Guided Tour, Swaram Sound Journey, Auroville Festival stall we have done in Auroville Festival to encourage the bioregion artisan as well as Auroville artist. This is recently on 24th Mother's Arrival Day. We have started Bharat Kalari. It's a venue. And also we have the first production of Bharat Nivas, Panchadeva. This is the highest revenue generate as far as the ticket selling is concerned. And the whole message is the 5 deity, the practice of 5 deity, how we will just think about to be together rather than having this ego or misunderstanding within. I think this is the right time to be together. This is the message with this 3 Panchadeva production of Bharat Nivas. Auroville Margali festivals. Auroville festivals. These are the major events. That's all. Thank you very much.
Any questions can be asked?
Why you don't use Bharat Nivas for what is meant to be?
Yeah, that is what I mean. If you see, it is basically an international zone. Apart from the activities, we are doing literature festival, tango festival.
Tango
also-
festival?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I am sorry.
I mean, on another way, you are asking why Bharat Nivas is only producing the activities only related to India, and then
Yes.
yeah, I mean.
Because this is the proposal.
That is what it is happening. I mean, if you see Kalari Academy has been inaugurated, and if you see the cultural program is happening in each day in Aurobindo Auditorium, it's all about Indian classical dance, how we offer our, humanity or our services to humanity. It is all correlated with the activities. If you come to Aurobindo Auditorium, it's daily cultural program in Auroville Festival as well as Margali Festival. You see all of this. I mean, I don't know how many programs you witness in Aurobindo Auditorium.
It was Aster Patel who started.
Yeah, Janmajay, I think I get what Paulette is trying to say. It's a bit elaborate.
Correct.
But if it would be good if Bharat Nivas could center itself into the aims which the mother had given for Bharat Nivas, yeah, which is, of course, culture, philosophy, literature, sociology, even sports, even what you're doing with, wildlife, and everything is there. But it has to have a center in the foundations. In the beginning, the building of this project, the architects were invited to study three things. One was the ideal of human unity, the national value of art, and the life of Sri Aurobindo. So it is from that this has been derived. I understand how much you have to work to be able to self-sustain. I can see that. But maybe you have to think in terms of being much more creative by staying to the root of what Bharat Nivas is to be able to generate. It's not easy, I guarantee that.
Yes.
But this is the direction.
Yeah, of course.
It's not a thing, yeah.
Of course, you see, since 2.5 years we have assigned, if you see the activities within this 2.5 years period, we are trying our level best to achieve the goal the way you are thinking, and we are on the process. Also, we have recently planned for each embassy to meet and talk to them about their each country's cultural activities, cultural exchange program. That is on our idea. So it is one by one we are trying our level best. The first phase we are achieved to self-sustain, and then we'll go on and second phase and third phase to achieve the
The other core thing of having these, not only Bharat Nivas, this is for all this, she laid it down for Bharat Nivas, but it actually applies to all the pavilions.
Correct.
That whatever activities or whatever it presents of itself, of its culture, history, literature, society, everything, has to move towards the future, because this is an evolutionary project. So whatever you are inviting and doing, you need to also project, because that has also been part of the research of Bharat Nivas all along.
Correct.
So these are just points for you to think.
Thank you.
Janmajay, Lakshay here. Thank you for your work, and whatever I'm going to say, don't take it personally, it's not for you. And I must also congratulate for the Panchadeva performance. I think it's one of the best performances at least I have seen in the last 10 years. It was really beautiful. Having said that, let me say it very openly that whatever is happening in Bharat Nivas is an embarrassment to Auroville. The shops on the way where we are asking the seekers of Auroville to pass through and selling it just in the name of self-sustaining Auroville is a joke, a horrible joke. I do not know how much are we making out of it in lieu for what we are selling. I mean, the name and the reputation of Auroville, I don't think it is worth a bit. Please, I appeal to you to stop it at once.
Okay.
Having said that, let me come to you. If it is all about self-sustaining, I get it, it is not up to you. I appeal to the BCC. I don't care if you have to increase the percentage of contribution from units from 33% to 88%, but do it. But do not ask such cultural entities to be self-sustaining. Like, say, Bharat Nivas, tomorrow Savitri Bhavan, thereafter Unity Pavilion, thereafter other units. any unit, or sorry, any activity in international zone or a cultural zone should not be forced to become self-sustaining. It loses the spirit, the essence of Auroville. Please don't do it. Now, this whatever self-sustaining. Well, that's surprising. Okay. Whatever you are attempting to do, we are there to help you. You do not ask for help. Instead, if you're going for help to bookmyshow.com, that is another really a backward move. I'm not sure per month how much are we even generating out of Book My Show, but the number of places we give impressions of Book My Show and advertise Book My Show, again, I don't think it's worth value for money even. And to little bit take the idea of Polit forward, Bharat Nivas, we are here to, show the idea, the beauty, the genius of India to the world. We have about millions of visitors every year. And they come here and we force them to go through this pathway. Right now, I do not know how many of us Aurovillians have done the rigorous walk from visitor center to the Matri Mandir and back in the sun in the daytime. But we are torturing our visitors. We are not taking care of them. On top of it, we put these shops on the way. Tomorrow, Golgappe and Pani Puri and things like that. Again, all in the name of self-sustaining. Let's please stop it and use this. If you want, I agree with you. This space was dormant, dead. It was used as personal spaces. We need to open it up. But open it up for what? I suggest that we open it up, this entire premise, as a place, as a pilot for other international zones. Why cannot we house African pavilion? Why cannot we house South American pavilion or European pavilion to begin with? This is the mother pavilion which will show the way for other pavilions. If next 10 years we show that India pavilion, Bharat pavilion, will be this kind of kitsch place, we are showing the way for tomorrow, I do not know, other countries also to follow suit, which will be further horrible. Sorry, the question is, do you have better solutions? Thank you.
Yeah. So I have answered to your question, Lakshay. See, I mean, if you concern pathway, so we are not selling Pani Puri. So do you know this idea that where La Boutique was started? Do you know that? Sundar is here. Where La Boutique was started? It started from Bharat Nivas. Tapas is sitting close to with you. Tapas, can you tell me where La Boutique started? It started from Bharat Nivas. I can show in the records. So let me speak. Each units earlier is within the Bharat Nivas. Then when the city started grown, then each units has gone. So Bharat Nivas earlier was having each and every units. And La Boutique was started from Bharat Nivas. I have the records. Yeah, if Sundar is here, I have the records with me, I can show it. La Boutique was started. No, it's not go back. This is reality. It's reality. And I'll tell you, it's the pathway has not Pani Puri. Each Auroville units, they have their stall. And today, they're so much encouraged and happy that they, okay, thank you, Lakshay. Yeah, so thank you very much.
Thank you. Now we call upon Sanjay from Saya.
Is it working?
Yeah, I will change.
Okay. So I think everyone knows what Sire is. So I'm just, okay. Your computer was slow. Okay, fine. So basically, we are looking at supporting teachers. I mean, the work of Sire is, of course, the work of all the units of Sire. We have over 45 units of Sire. But what I'm presenting here is what Sire does to support these units. So we support our teachers, we support collective activities with children, we support educational activities and infrastructure development of the units of Sire, and we initiate research from Sire. And of course, we provide the administrative support to streamline the activities of the units. Now it's working. Okay, so I'm giving some examples of what we are doing to support teachers. So we had our Integral Education Practitioners Gathering, the 4th round of it. This time we had it at Unity Pavilion, and most of it we had it at Udavi itself. So we wanted, I mean, we have used Bharat Nivas in the past, but we wanted to move closer to the schools somehow. There. So the format was very similar to before. We had plenaries, and then we had various activities, book reading and so on. So the feedback on what teachers received from the IEPG and what they are able to incorporate in their classrooms when they go back. And a lot of it does have to do with many of the activities that they were exposed to. So this is more of an exposure. IEPG is an ability for us to have exposure to different activities that are happening either in different schools or across different Auroville units. So these were some of the activities this time. We had ATB, physical education. We actually had all the schools present what they do about vital education at each of the level, which I think was the first time when all of us came together to share, reflect on our experiences and share it, which has been something that we have not been very good at in terms of sharing our things with each other. So that is something that we have done. We also had a topic on research. We have started offering more intensive courses that are based on integral education, but addressing different aspects that the teachers require. So one of them was the physical education board. Okay, you'll have to do next. It doesn't seem to be. Okay, yeah. Yeah. So the first program we had 7 people who are graduating now, and the next batch is starting on 25th of July. So that the trainees are being supported in how they can create classrooms which are both rigorous but also provide mental, emotional resilience in children, creating inclusive environments, deeper understanding of individuals' physical abilities. So it even goes into the aspects of understanding how the body works, the kinematics and all that. So it's a very rigorous program. It's a 10-month program which also has practicals. The second is a supportive learning and special needs course. So this has also been a need that has been expressed by many schools, and we were hoping to create resource people in the school itself rather than rely on external people who need to come in and work with children. So 21 teachers across 7 of our learning centers or schools are participating in this program. Again, it is a program that is bringing together integral education along with experts in this field. So we also had orientation for experts in this field because they are not aware of integral education. So it was a very interesting program that we have put together. Okay, you're just going to keep going next. Yeah, thanks. Slowly. Yeah, next. Keep going. In addition to that, we have been having and we continue to have workshops and smaller workshops, maybe 2 weeks or 1 week, or a session, maybe 3 hours, for different aspects that teachers have expressed interest in learning. Next. So the events with children, we've had the Daya Shakti New Year tournament. So on New Year, we organized this event. It's a fun, competitive, inclusive sporting event. Mother allowed competition for physical education. She said that the tamas in the body needs to be addressed. And so yeah, there were some, we had volleyball, we had futsal, we had frisbee and all these athletic events. Other than that, we had the Magari Vaibhav, which was learning Andal's. She's one of the Alvars, learning her 30 Pashurams. So every day the children came together early morning and they learned the Pashurams. And at the end, they actually had a performance to display what they had learned through dance and also through art. We had the Auroville Week celebrations. So this year, this we did in a big way, where the youngest children came together and they installed this mother symbol in front of town hall, and 165 children participated in this. we also had a group of children from 5 schools come together to decorate the PTDC. So we had a lot of hands-on crafts activities, and the result of those craft activities was displayed in these places. Yeah, and we had the 7 to 9-year-olds come and make offerings near the banyan tree, so that when visitors come, when visitors are coming for the dawn fire, they have the place decorated by the children. So these are some of the activities we did with children together. Yeah. Then we have activities, research and publication grants that we received last year. This is how we utilized them. We had 5 publications, some of them related to, of course, Sri Aurobindo's writings, either translation into Russian or understanding what he had written. And also we had a children's book. Under research, we had research projects on storytelling, on assessment of active learning methods, on families of Auroville, and on how decision making is done in spiritual communities. And in the activities, we had a variety of activities that support integral educations in the schools as well as activities beyond schools. So we did both. We created a research desk at SIRE, and the short-term tasks and projects we took up was the midline analysis of the integral education, physical education program, how the participants were going through it and how they were benefiting or what they felt. We had a high school survey with students, we had a high school survey with parents, we had a survey with teachers at Deepanam School, and we had a publication on the IEPG which got published in the New Race Journal, and we had a research paper that was recently accepted at EARCOM 9, which is in South Korean conference, which is coming up in July. The long-term projects are, we are answering the question that was asked by this audience last time: what is the curriculum of our schools? So Deepanam School came forward and we created a fairly detailed case study in how does it map to what is required for children to progress, both spiritually as well as even practically and in terms of their academics. We are creating a scoping paper because there are many people who want to write on free progress approach, but if you want to write on free progress approach, there isn't really academic research on that area that you can reference. So that's something we are working on. And also we are doing interviews with Auroville School alumni to understand what they have done. I mean, we had done this in the past as well. So this is something that we are doing in the that was not covered already with the last school survey earlier. So we have summer activities coming up, and we have the kindergartens program where the children from all the kindergartens will come together and have a summer program. We are going to have a yoga week, and this time we are going to do a yoga marathon. So the yoga marathon is a Surya Namaskar challenge. So people can choose to do 108 or 54 or 21 repeats of the Surya Namaskar. So this is a new idea we have. This is coming up in June, and we have a series of workshops also in the summer for our children, and they can participate in that on robotics and electronics and 3D printing and drones. So these are all the activities that we are doing now. And what we are looking at is, so right now what we have done is, earlier all the units did the activities and we worked in silos fairly well, but we rarely came together. So what we have done so far is create possibilities for people to come together and break silos and learn from each other and support each other. What we have to look at next is, what is the contribution of SIRE to India and to the world in terms of our learning that we can share with others and support integral education grow, because you can't survive as an island. You need to influence the outside world so that what we do is respected, what we do is supporting the growth of what we are meant to do, why we are here in Auroville, right? Not only for our children, for all children of the world. That's it. Thank you.
Hi Sanjay, I'm Tine.
Hello.
I just wanted to ask you, when I read through all your programs and workshops, is there anything related to Sri Aurobindo and Mother like a reading program or showing the children some books or
Yeah.
bringing them closer to the ideals of Aurobindo? Is there anything happening within Sire?
Yeah. So if you look at very young children, right, they are attracted by beauty. So all the activities that were described in the Auroville week, for example, with very young children, whether it's a symbol of the mother, whether it is the activities that are related to Sri Aurobindo or the mother, are more subtle. So it is not more direct, right? When you think of activities at the schools, I haven't described any of the activities that the schools are doing themselves, right? So if you look at IEPG, the reading circles are all about, they are the works of Sri Aurobindo and the mother, because this is the guidance we have as teachers, right? So yes, we address different aspects of the physical, mental, vital in line with the psychic being. And are we explicitly exposing children to Sri Aurobindo and the mother is what you're asking, I think. And that is also done at the schools. So we have taken a significant effort at the schools. We even have a book now on the life of Sri Aurobindo, more a picture book for children to get to know the life of Sri Aurobindo. And each of the school has taken an effort to do that, especially on the 150th year. From then on, this has been there. There wasn't that much before, I accept, but now there is in each of the schools. So when we come for the collective events, we bring that same energy together. And each of the schools is doing something very beautifully. So when we come together, that comes out on how they are able to approach it. Yeah. Others?
Myself, Kani. I've been doing sports like 7 years.
Can you stand? I can't really
Yeah,
tell.
I'm here. I can see.
Okay. Hi.
So I don't have a question. I have a request.
Yeah.
For for the sports for next level. So for example, in 2023, we all went a group to a Pondicherry futsal tournament, and we won the first prize, winning prize. So we got a super experience and super level how the tournaments works and everything going on there. So I want all of the Aurovillian kids to have the same experience. So I want our sports to take it next level, to state level and national level tournaments. So that's my request actually.
Yeah. I mean, so for that you need to have a very competent team, right?
Yeah.
Of facilitators, of coaches, and that's sort of what we are working on now. One aspect of it, right? The other aspect of it is of course to go to tournaments you need funding, and that also we have supported in the last year. For Frisbee we have supported, but for other activities, if you are aware of it, you can apply for grants as well.
Yeah, sure. For like past 4 tournaments which happened inside Auroville, like we organized ourselves and we funded ourselves and we made it and we won the tournaments as well. So I wanted to continue with support of yourself, like.
See, if you have good ideas, we like this year I just presented. We hadn't done it the previous year, but this year we did open it up for activities, for things that you feel is going to support any of the aspects of the growth of the being. So you can write a proposal for that. It's not only for the units of Sire. It's for anyone who has a good idea to develop the education, broader education perspective in Auroville. So it's open for anyone. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Due to time restriction, I think if people have more questions, you can always write it and give it to us or send us an email.
The last question.
There's not much time now.
Hi, Sanjeev. Thanks for presentation. Well, for me, Sire is extremely important. If we talk about the Auroville as a institute for the under HRD ministry, right? Now, so Sire needs to be into the center for everything. And if we talk about the master plan and the rest of the development of the schools, which is also near to the, kind of the residential zone and everything, so that the residents can learn parallelly with the education system in Auroville. So what the kind of a situations we are today in Auroville, can we reflect on the what kind of education system we were following so far for last 50 years? That's how we dumped into these situations. I'm requesting you to reflect on that to the historical data or the systems what SIRE been followed in last 20 or 30 years, right? How was the connections between the schools and the parents? Like for example, today there are n numbers of no schooling parents, right? Homeschooling parents. How do you see in next 10 years, 20 years, where are we going? Right? If we talk about the researchers and all things like as we have been supported by the government of India for the SIRE, and again as we are supposed to focus on the education systems, do we have any notable success in terms of research publications by our researchers in last 5 years, 10 years, in any of the well-known media? And if it is there, I really would love to see that list. Do we have any notable success by our alumni of schools, and which has been, circulated within the Auroville media? I would really love to see that. I would also love to see that how do you see the higher education in Auroville? Because within Auroville land, if in the future IIT is coming, do you see that the Auroville school kids will be able to go through the entrance of the IIT exams? Thank you.
Yes, I have been told I can answer by email, but I take your inputs and I agree that the R in SIRE is pronounced a little silently by us, because the research that the way we perceive research and the way research is done in the academic world is different. And that is the gap we are attempting to bridge by creating the research desk to start supporting us become researchers, because we do interesting work, we sometimes document them, but that is not the rigor that is needed by research, and it's something we need to learn. We have been focusing mostly on school education at SIRE so far. We haven't really looked at adult education, for example. How do we support the learning of, we've left it to other units and groups to do that. But in time, just like in the physical education, we are first starting with children, but we will have it open to how do we address physical education in light with integral education for adults. What can be available for them? Because we did come here for integral yoga, right? So then it's all of it. Yeah. So that's the last line that I had left. We are re-envisioning what more we can do, let's say beyond schools, which we have done. And I think our notable success is primarily the children who have come out through the Auroville education system. And I think some of them have done very well, not in terms of the external word specification, but in terms of who they are being. And I think we have a lot of beautiful people around us because of that. And yet the rigor of getting into IIT and all, yeah. Okay, I'll probably have to give coaching classes. We'll see. We'll get there when we get there. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, Sanjeev. So now we call upon Secretary Madam Dr. Jayanti Ravi to share some words with us.
Good evening, vanakkam, bonjour to everybody. We want to make sure that this space for all of us to meet is available regularly. Maybe we can slightly change our orientation to be able to see you all. And so we have planned now that in every month, the 4th Saturday of every month, we'll have a meeting with the residents. Unless there is some change, by default, we'll keep it so that there is a structure and a system where there's so much happening and we have a forum to share all this with you. So today, you must have, I think, the presentations we had about what is happening on the city, the physical aspect of the city. You also saw the presentation by working committee, also the FAMC, which I missed. I think that was the first one. And of course, Bharat Nivas and Sire, and there were questions also. Is there anything else that any of you would like to ask before I've noted down all your questions? I'll be responding to it. Is there anything else you have in mind before we, because time is also, we've had a lot of time. Yes, Lakshmi.
Good evening, ma'am. I wanted to know your views about this duplicate working groups which are still operating. I asked working committee last time also. What are you planning to do about it? What's the way forward? Because I think this duplicacy is holding many residents from coming forward and taking productive working roles. So all of us need to put a stop to this menace, if I may call it, because it's been festering for 3 years. Thank you.
Questions from anybody else, or because it's already about 5:50, so I would like to then wrap up. But let me also leave a thought. If there's anything you want to ask, you can also send, probably not only for me, but for any of our groups. We would really encourage you to, and I'll request Arun to collect them and we can respond to them. I think that system of acknowledging whatever is coming and then answering, maybe we have answers. Some of them we may say it's a good suggestion, we're trying to work on it. So coming back to some of the things that I heard today, we'll start possibly with Lakshay's question about the so-called, the illegitimate or groups which self-proclaimed groups which are there. I think we've had court cases where this has been very, very clearly spelt out, even in the case of the working committee, that this committee, which is currently recognized by the governing board, is the one which is legitimate, correct. And I think this is again, in the spirit of Auroville, we are again trying to reach out and very clearly, firmly, politely, but convey this message that this amounts to some kind of impersonation. And so therefore, I think we have to respect the fact that there are groups which are legitimately required to do their work. If you read the recent Supreme Court judgment also, this has been very clearly enunciated. And I would also take this opportunity to jump to another point which I wanted to reach out to all of you, which we will also be making a community announcement very soon. We would really welcome those of you interested in participating in various activities. I think the gist of many things that emerged today, it shows that if we were to start with the first issue of visa, I think Joseba responded to it very, very appropriately to say that the two things go together. 98% of the visas have been cleared. And if we see the number of people who are getting a full 5-year duration, it is huge. And slowly we want to de-link this. Once the ATSC is full-fledged in place, then the admission termination will take care of this for both international residents of Auroville and Indian residents. So it's not something that's only meant for a certain section or a certain segment. It's meant for everybody. So while that is happening, the issue also is that we cannot then want to be in Auroville and still at every stage, want all the benefits that accrue to a person in Auroville, which Government of India has been very gracious. And this is something that we have been given over the years. I don't think any place on planet Earth has something as beautiful as this, which is offered by a country with so much of goodwill, large-heartedness. So this is, and this is where we get, there's land available for us. It's a different issue that it may have been acquired by the mother. In fact, today I also want to acknowledge the efforts, of course, of many people who worked with the mother back then, including one of our honorary Aurovillians, J. Dayanandji, who is perhaps in his 90s, painstakingly, these were the real heroes, the real warriors, the real pioneers who painstakingly went and were able to acquire a lot of the land on which we are today comfortably sitting. And with that gratitude, acknowledgement, while that is there, there's a lot of things that have come to us as a very special gift from the Government of India. And of course, we're very privileged that we have chosen this path and have the grace of the Mother. But just as we have a lot of privileges, we also have some duties. And I think this is what is something that we all have to reflect. I don't think any of us does not know about it. And when we complain about some situations which emerge, I would again very sincerely, very earnestly request us, each one of us, to reflect, again, consecrate ourselves for the original vision, mission of Auroville for which we have come here. And when there is a contradiction in it, just as Lakshay mentioned, if we want to have parallel groups which work against the purpose of what we are meant to do here, for which Government of India, the governing board, and we have the Supreme Court also fully, very clearly endorsing what is happening, then it does put us in a situation which then goes beyond our control. We may not have quite said something. We may have said that these are the people obstructing, but then it opens, it keeps it open for Government of India to step in and take action, which then becomes a little too stiff and tight at that point of time. So I think we all have to again reflect at every point, but this is a very important moment in time. There's a quote of Mother's which I thought was very appropriate. For each person, everything depends on knowing whether one belongs to the past that perpetuates itself or to the future that longs to be born. 16th of February 1963. This is just before, a few years before Auroville took shape. It was also already taking shape at a different plane. Mother was having visions of it, planning it, and so on. So this is one of the things that I thought we should again look at. If we look at now specific questions that came in, there was a question perhaps from Sonia about housing. I think Sindhuja did answer it very well, but I want to again reiterate the fact that, I mean, as I've been having conversations with many of you, there are several proposals and pending which we have sent from here to Government of India, including a proposal related to HUDCO. Then there is also something related to the HEFA. And now the latest is 2 days back, we've also had a very fruitful meeting with the NBCC. And all these possibilities are there because, as was rightly pointed out, Government of India will not directly come into funding. But we also have possibilities of models like the way Sunship was built and maybe other entities. If there are developers or people who want to come and build something here, for example, there is a group from the ashram which is very keen on building something on the lines of what Aurobindo had conceptualized and built, the Golconda. So there is a group which is working on something which we called Golconda, which is also. So again, this is a very, very sincere invitation to each one of you. I think it's time for us to see how we can participate in all of these things. It's for building our city. We are all a part of it. So we will be also sending out a communication inviting those of you who are interested, even in any of these, if there are housing projects, you want to be the person who holds that space, gets it done, so on and so forth. There is a possibility not just in the realm of housing, in housing as well. So there are several possibilities like this, including the viability gap funding. We're looking at all of this. And in Government of India, these proposals have been pending perhaps for about 2 years, 9 months, some a few weeks, and so on. And some, I heard a gentleman, I don't know his name, expressing a bit of anger at the visa being, the status not being known for weeks together. Well, I was just trying to imagine how Mother would have felt about the status of the city for decades together. We've somehow managed to derail it or not let it fully happen. So just as we are often pained by something that we want to see happen, I fully appreciate that. But similarly, I think it also calls for reciprocity, our alacrity, our willingness, readiness to do what we have signed up as when we came here to adopt the charter. So that is something, when we see it in that space of what is it that I have to do and what is it that I'm likely to get. I think if there is that openness and that self-reflection, I'm sure we will get a lot of things happening. On the green belt, I think, was it Giovanni about the green space? Absolutely, Giovanni. Again, my question here is also that these were a part of the master plan. If you read the master plan, there are green belt regulations in it, which were enunciated and articulated much before you came. You probably came to Auroville much later, recently, right? But this was a part of the document which was signed, sealed, and stamped. Of course, it had the full blessings of the mother because the entire galaxy plan was based on what she had envisioned and worked with Roger's several iterations, the Ford Foundation. We know all of that. But the master plan too had also the seal and approval of the government, but it also followed the approval of the resident assembly. All that was done. And so there were regulations in it. So our question is, why is it that we also, for all these 25 years, we didn't do it? But yes, instead of cursing the darkness, I think it's better we light candles. So the two things that we tried to do immediately is all the land acquisition proposals. After this new governing board came, I think just a month or so before that, in September, if I remember right, September 21, we sent the land acquisition proposals for the entire city part, and then for the green belt as well subsequently. It took a lot of efforts by the team. But following that, because there was a geo which required that once this land acquisition proposal goes, there is a possibility that any construction work that would happen in pieces of land not owned by us, we would be asked for our NOC, which and that process is going on. But we lost a lot of time, nearly 20 years of not doing that. So these are also issues. I mean, I'm not trying to say that why didn't it happen, but these are facts also that we have to see. And I think we all would love to see the green thing, but now that it is in place, at least whatever is now going to happen, there is a very clear floor area ratio, all of that. If you read the master plan, and if you see it's clearly what is it that you can build in the green belt, it was all written. And we're also trying to see if we can have a little more teeth to enforce that, which is happening also with the government of Tamil Nadu and of course also with Ministry of Education. So you must have also noticed that in the last several months and weeks, we've also had a lot of engagement with the collector of this area where we stay, the officials, they've been coming. So we are trying to expedite the process of acquiring nearly all the pieces of land which fall within the jurisdiction of what we call the city area, the 5 square kilometers, and the rest of it, the intention was never and perhaps would never be to be able to buy or procure all of it. But what we can do is regulate it. And why we failed perhaps to do it over all these years, for whatever reason, there's no point blaming, talking about it. But I think with all earnestness, at least going forward, we would like to do it, and that is what we're working on. The Bharat Nivas. Now, I think Janmaji made a very good presentation, but I think the idea was not only about sustainability. Sustainability is also one of the factors, but I think it was more about making it a place which is vibrant and pulsating with Indian culture. But when we say Indian, Bharat is also about Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam. So you can also have perhaps a tango festival happening there. It's not that we should completely purge anything which is non-Indian. I think the idea is to have this space available for whatever is in alignment with the vision and mission of Mother and Sri Aurobindo, and I must really compliment the team for doing that quite well. Of course, again, this is an invitation to all of you. He mentioned about something that has been formally inaugurated just 2 days back, Bharat Gallery. So this is again exactly on the lines of what Paulette said. Anu too mentioned about it. There's so much that Sri Aurobindo, the Pavilion of India, Bharat Nivas as it was called, and it is called. So whether it's the Chatur Vyuha, so there was the need also for the warrior. So it was not about the aspects of the mother and the 4 qualities. So just as we needed the aspects of a Kshatriya, the qualities, the attributes, and everybody, all these 4 attributes had to be within each human being, is what Sri Aurobindo has articulated. And in that context, the Kalari is one such step forward, the ancient art of Kalari. We have now tried to start it here with not only classes, performances every day, so that when people come from outside, visitors, we would often see them just walk, have a look at the Matra Mandir from the viewing point or whatever it is called. I see some of the Matra Mandir executives here. And after that, they're out in the streets of Koila Palayam and others. And as I often say that they're busy having, food, which is like, maida and other things, which is okay once in a while, pizzas and other things. But what about the real nutrition for their soul? What about real things that they can? And therefore, if the space of Bharat Nivas, do you know how many performing spaces we have within Bharat Nivas? I didn't. About 2.5 years ago, when we sat in one of the meetings, we started enumerating. We found there were about 12 performing spaces of different character, of different kinds, different sizes. Then we also were very lucky when we started walking around. I think they discovered some more performing spaces which had got completely covered by trash and junk over the years, something on which Government of India had spent a lot of money, which is where now today's Kalari Gram is housed. It was a beautiful structure like a step well, but it was completely covered with, so nobody even knew. There was no dead stock, there was no register of assets. So if you go into all of that, there are lots of things perhaps which were not there or not accessible. Never mind, but it's about what can I do now rather than talk about all the things that didn't happen. And I must say that there are lots of things happening. The idea of Kalari is also the idea, of course, they have classes, but can we also have some shows or performances where people can experience what it is to understand, as Paulette said, Anu said, what is it that India... There's a call from the ADC. I also saw it, and I think we need to attend to it. So this is again an invitation. Can we not have the Bharat Nivas as a space? I mean, if the wildlife gallery can be there, and it's doing wonderful work, educating people on how art related, because Sri Aurobindo and Mother gave a lot of emphasis on art of all kinds, the importance of it. So I look at Poonam and Ravi sitting here, and of course Jyoti is also there. We have the flower garden, which is taking a beautiful shape. Can we also not have a small space there dedicated to the flowers that Mother said? Because that's going to be the path for most of the visitors who come daily. So can we have a little path where we educate them, inspire them about it as well, while coming to the Mother's garden would be an actual touch, feel, they would get to see the flowers, but a space where there are these paintings, artworks related to it. What is the significance, consciousness? I mean, this is just a thought. Similarly, I think there are innumerable possibilities here. So I'll request all of you, this is time. Let us now really come forth with what is it that we can offer at Bharat Nivas. So while a lot of work has happened, I want to really congratulate. I wanted this place to be a very pulsating, vibrant space of Indian culture, if we see in terms of the events, the performances. But we still have space because all these 12 plus one now, the Kalari one which has been found. So there are about 13 odd. Yesterday I was pleasantly surprised. There are also something like the 12 petals of the Mother. So in addition to these 12, if we go in, there are 12 spaces in Kalabhumi. Were you aware of it? And each of them is a beautiful space. So we can showcase, we have 700 units, Margarita, in Auroville. And there are, Sire, Sanjeev, so many entities which can showcase so many things. If we can also, because all of this, as Rabindra rightly said, is about educating ourselves and the rest of the world about what somewhere has got lost. The new education policy is also about that. Even lifelong learning. It's not just about while you're at school or in college. So for all of us. So this is again an open invitation to all of you to please approach the office bearers at Bharat Nivas with your ideas of what all. For example, the team at, Pilates. There are so many things. We don't have to be very, very rigid about it that I'll only let Indian forms. If Kalari comes, there's no harm in tango being there. There's no harm in Pilates being. I think India is very inclusive. Of course, we would like the central thing because it's Bharat Nivas. And if there is a possibility of having other things also happen till such time the international zone is not ready and you have pavilions for each of the countries, because this is a place which has these spaces and they need to be used. So that was a request to all of you. And incidentally, there's another thing which the governing board has taken a decision on, I think perhaps about 3 GBs ago, which is setting up Auroville International Information Centers in different parts of India and the world. So this is again a request to all of you. You come from different parts of India and the world originally. Now we're all a part of Auroville. Would you have some connections there? Aditya, I see you sitting there. You're from Kutch, isn't it, originally? Is it possible, if there is a center of Sri Aurobindo in Kutch, is it possible to check if they would be willing and able to set up something called a Auroville International Information Center? Now, what does it encompass? There are some ideas some of us are working on. This is just an example. Anybody from any part of the world. Colombia, Margarita is here. Piero, you're from Italy. If there is a center there wanting to set up an Auroville International, I mean, this is open to all of you. If we can look at those, then the possibilities of some of us going there, working there for a few months, a few years, coming back, these could be our Tamil children from here, it could be other Aurovillians from here, because there's so much that we have to take to other parts of the world and vice versa. Interns, students, visitors from all over the world. So all this now has to be really seeded and made to slowly start, grow, thrive and flourish. So there's the opportunities, I think, plenty. But, you know, we have to choose to be a part of this and participate in it. South Africa. I'm forgetting your name. Michael. So South Africa, do we have a Sri Aurobindo presence? Is there any center there? Maybe we can explore. If there are, most countries have people connected with the ashram ecosystem. Even in India, different parts, like I mentioned, Kutch, you would have. Is there a way of connecting those with this, but in a slightly more systematic way? So the GB has, so there is some homework happening on it. We would really love, and this is again an invitation to all of you. On maintenance, Arun and many other young people, I also met many of our sisters and brothers from the Tamil speaking Aurovillians a few weeks ago. So on maintenance, I want to say that this year we're waiting for the annual accounts to get settled. I think the teams have done very well. I don't know if Margarita, I missed your presentation. She would have given an update. Satyanarayan ji is here, or so how much is left? Perhaps by end of this month or first week of May, we should have it going. This month. Excellent. So once that is done and we take a stock of where we are, we would take a call. However, the augmenting that, it'll of course be something that we'll place before the governing board for them to take a call, but it may not necessarily be an increase in terms of cash. It could be in kind as well. So slowly we want to move towards what is referred to as prosperity. Prosperity again, not in a limited sense of having a bag with a toothpaste and a toothbrush, but something which is really to represent the character and the mission, vision of Auroville. So that is something which is on the cards. So these were some of the things. Sire as well, I think there were questions from Ravindra. You made a very valid point. Absolutely. Let us also share with you that this year we've had some very beautiful breakthroughs in Sire. I think Orivan is here. I would have loved to hear you share. We're also looking at the possibility of fortifying our students with choices. Choices of having certification or choosing not to have certification. Because this is also a concern for a lot of parents. And that's why I'm told several busloads of children choose not to study in Auroville schools, even though we have the infrastructure wherewithal, because they feel that their future is perhaps sometimes getting shortchanged or jeopardized. So all these possibilities, we're working on it. The possibility of training for teachers, not just within facilitation, not just within Auroville, but also for teachers or facilitators from across India and the world. We've had something very beautiful which has happened with the ashram the Director of Physical Education at the ashram, Praveen Bhai Kapoor, who incidentally happens to be the brother of our own Pashiji, who's now not physically with us, but I think he's been in all these conversations when we talk of where the city should be headed, Siru, all of this. He was very, very active. And I must confess, they've done something beautiful, a 1-year program for training physical education instructors in Auroville has been successfully completed by them. And this also had Savitri, the Pilates teacher, Pedro. I think I saw you somewhere here. Are you there? No, somebody else. Pedro and Ruben. So it's been a very good group which has done some wonderful work. But we're now this year planning to open it up for participants from across India and the world with a cost, with a certain fee that they will pay. For Aurovillians, all this is free. But when people come from outside, we feel that there should be some value for this, and that's how we also, sustainability is also not a bad word. Money is not a bad word. After all, the whole chapter 3 of the Mother, the little book, is about money. So we have to become self-sustainable as well. And there is a huge appetite and hunger for all of this across the world. So these are some of the things. And IIT Ravindra Vedar, the IIT campus here, it's the purpose, let me say, well, if children get in, and Sanjeev is he's committed, it's recorded, huh? He said he'll run coaching classes or whatever, some kind of classes to see if there are kids really with that attitude and wanting to join IITs, we can. But I think more than that, it's about the startup ecosystem. If you have a full Auroville IIT sustainability campus, it's not going to be so much for an undergrad degree and a PG degree alone, but it's more about our Aurovillians from across the world. If they were to come collaborate on projects of sustainability, startups, and if the research park there, the turnover is running to the tune of about 13,000 crores, but here they've agreed to abide by all that defines the code of conduct at Auroville. So in that context, I think it'll be a very, very unique space where you have people from all over the world who don't want to be a part of the rat race that defines many of these startup hubs, but they want to have something very refreshingly different, anchored in consciousness. So it'll be a very unique offering that Auroville and IIT together would do. So if that materializes, it is on the way to happening. I think it would mean a lot. So these are some of the things that are happening. But again, I think I also want to congratulate the team, the media team, Anita and Molika, several others. Sindhu, of course, has been an active part of it, for this monthly newsletter called Auroville Tomorrow, which just came out on Darshan Day. So this is something that the GB, there was a meeting with the GB members which happened to say that something must come out regularly, because we do have efforts by several of our sisters and brothers of Auroville, but oftentimes this becomes something which is not then sustained and so on. So we felt, then the GB members felt, we should have something which continues without any, because I think everybody is preoccupied with many other things and sometimes things fall through the cracks. So we thought we should have a dedicated way of taking this forward, and I want to compliment the team in a very short duration, doing a great job and putting it all together. So by and large, I think if we really look at where we are, I think it's a very, very promising and a very good place to be in. And again, with full sincerity, we want to again request, sincerely welcome each one of you. It doesn't matter what the past was. We have to move forward. And as this is something beautiful, Sri Aurobindo, in the context of the world, the terror attack also that we've had, and across many things of this kind happening across the world, Sri Aurobindo's teachings emphasizes, this is, I quote the Mother, his teaching emphasizes that all nations are essentially one and meant to express the divine unity upon earth through an organized and harmonious diversity. He revealed the great political secret whose realization can lead to the union of all nations and finally to human unity. He saw family nationality, and humanity as steps towards a collective unity. And we have the special, absolutely very, very special privilege of having been allowed to come here. I would say allowed by her grace. I don't think this happens with our choosing. We were all too small, our egos and all the distortions we all would have, no matter what we think. We're very privileged that by some quirk, some certain circumstances that happened, we've come here from different parts. There's somebody from Switzerland, there's somebody from some corners of the globe and some parts of the country who would have never had an idea that I would be a part of something as exciting an adventure as this. And when we are here, the mother also said, we are at one of the hours of God, as Sri Aurobindo puts it, and the transforming evolution of the world has taken a hastened and intensified movement. I have reason to believe that that is this point in time. There's some beautiful things happening in Auroville with all of you. And again, our earnest request, appeal to all of you is be a part of this. We've had whatever be the past. This is the time for all of us to put all that behind us, join in manifesting this beautiful city, one of its kind. Nowhere would you find a city like this anywhere in the world. And what a privilege to be her squirrels and build something like this, not just the brick and mortar, the education, enterprise, culture, art, every dimension of what a truly conscious, a new civilization can be like. We're experimenting with it, all aspects, whether it's food and so on, everything. So again, on that note, let's spend a few seconds sincerely offering everything to her. And all this has to be anchored in our correct relationship with money as well. This is something also when he says the truth has to pervade all aspects or all dimensions of our being. And that is where the reforms that FAMC is also trying to do. And I must appreciate we've been able to onboard most of you because we have been given all this time. We were given all these decades to really work from that space of integrity. And do we really want people slapping notices on us and telling us you have to cough up this money, you have to pay this up? We can help. If we don't know, we can have ways of auditing, helping you. But I think that switch has to happen in each one of us internally. We have to choose that this is what we should do, because we cannot have a wrong way of flourishing, thriving, because this has to be something anchored in consciousness and truth. And we can. So that's what we have to show the world, that anchored in consciousness by what the mother says on Darshan Day when you climb up the stairs, cling to truth, is something that is so, so powerful every time one sees that statement. In that spirit, while holding on to that, we can conquer the world with love, with kindness, with compassion, and with discipline, with what we're expected to do. And that's what Auroville, we have to be the lighthouse, we have to be the beacon for that. So once again, I want to acknowledge all the wonderful work you've all done in so many fields over all these decades. But this is a phase of really accelerated movement to realize what she had dreamt of. And she said this is not an ordinary dream. She can see it. She knows it's going to happen, notwithstanding any of us. So we have to put our little preferences, small egos aside and really come together, join hands to make this happen. And again, we want to welcome all of you for even positions in different entities that are there in Auroville. Those of you, we're also sharing some kind of profiles of what is the requirement. And we would be very happy to see how all of us can collectively work. Thank you. We'll end with a few seconds of silence, offering all this at her lotus feet. And of course, Sri Aurobindo's lotus feet too. Vanakkam. Good evening.